I think there's two things I do extremely well, and they're very, very, very different. One, I'm extremely good historically, and I hope to continue to be, at understanding where the current attention graph of human beings are. What platforms, what technologies are capturing our attention, and how do I become a storyteller on those platforms and build business? You know, my dad's liquor store was a business that was not making a whole lot of profit off of its $3.5 million base, and I grew it to a $60 million business in a heartbeat because every penny I was spending on Google AdWords, email marketing, and having a website in 1996 to 2001 was worth dollars. Every nickel was worth dollars, and that's how it got built quickly. My career is a very similar story. In 2006 and 2007, I was producing enormous amounts of content for YouTube and Twitter that ended up working out. And that has basically been my whole career. I come here today and can tell you, regardless of what you do for a living, no matter what you are selling or what kind of professional you are, no matter if you're B2B or B2C, I know standing here right now that the two biggest arbitrages as platforms in this market are TikTok and LinkedIn. Right? I know that if you go home and spend 30 hours and really research the content that's working on both, TikTok's very young, but so is Instagram and Facebook. LinkedIn is no longer just business, and if you sell workout equipment and just put out content there, it will work. So what I've done really well my whole career is play in two very opposite directions. One, the state of the union of the consumer, which basically is day trading. I have to look at that stuff every day. Every day I'm paying attention, and I have to spend a lot of times on things that don't work out. I spent enormous amounts of time on apps like Social Cam and apps like Peach and apps like Vero and Vidler and many other things that many people here don't even know, because that's part of what I have to do to stay on top of things. You hear about the ones that work out. Nobody cries for me about the 50, 100 hours I spent in a couple of months on a platform that, you know, a month later means nothing, and all that time was wasted. That's what I do over here. The other thing I do, which is all the way over here, is I basically have 5, 7, 13, 22 core principles that have been always true in business in perpetuity, right? Which is, I am desperate with this audience to be the person that provides the most value for free. Desperate. Every day, how do I put in all these hours of work, and then how do I put it out on LinkedIn, YouTube, podcast, Facebook, Twitter for free? It is not a funnel to get you to pay for something. It is fucking free, period, end of story. And so I do that. And that is giving more than you ask in return. If you're running a marathon and trying to build a meaningful business, that will always work out. Patience. I believe in it. I believe that we live in a fast society now where people can see millions of different things and see different impressions of what people are doing and get very quick into FOMO or why haven't I? And the reality is, I believe in patience almost more than anything. And it comes so not natural. Everybody's looking for the passive, for the angle, for the quick fix. How do I get there faster? How do I get there faster? How do I get there easier? Literally the only thing that's interesting to me is slow and hard. Literally the only thing that's interesting to me in business is slow and fucking difficult. And that is basically completely polar opposite to the 99% of advice that is being put out there today. So for me, those are the two frameworks for me. How am I fast as fuck, and how do I go super hard, and how do I, while I'm standing there looking into things to be prepared for what I do for a living, and then how do I go at the highest level in my mind, slow. In my mind and my strategy, slow, tried and true. The shit your great-great-grandparents believed in is the shit that I believe in mentally. And then in action, I go fast and hard. I sleep 7, 8, 6.5 hours a day. Everybody thinks it's 2 or 3. It's because I go so hard the other 15, 16. I believe that that is the reverse of most people. I think mentally, everybody wants it fast and easy. And I think in their actions, they're slow. They like take lunch and shit. And that's it. That is how I see the world. That is what I observed from others. The question for me over the last half decade is, why am I able to go fast? Why am I comfortable to give the advice that I tell you? So much of the fluffy shit that I find myself in now, which is parenting advice, mental advice, happiness, empathy, gratitude, it all came from my frustration of 2014, 15, 16, when I'm giving you the keys. Do you understand in the first 2 minutes of this talk, I delivered on what many of you actually want from me, which is I've been so consistently right, and there is so much value in being first, right? It's always a game of best. You can still start a YouTube channel and a podcast tomorrow and completely dominate, even everybody's doing it, because you're just better at your genre. But being first helps. If you're right about first, it does help. And that is a far majority of what people want from me when I read my DMs, my emails, my text messages. And I gave it to you already. It's done. For 80% of the people, the thing you're looking for from me has been delivered. It's called TikTok and LinkedIn. You can go fucking home and eat. The interesting thing though, for that 80% that we're looking for it, is 98% of them won't do anything about it. My biggest fear is that people try to be like me, and the only thing I want them to be like me is actually being themselves, right? Like for example, I'll be very frank with you, I struggle at some level with the fact that my personality is so loud and hyper and high energy, because what I believe in, you know, I always say to people, I'm a tortoise in a hare's costume. I'm very slow. I'm very patient. I'm meticulous. Yet my energy is frantic, and thus people think it's fast. But that's me, and I'm fine with that too. And so I don't try to forcefully tone down. You just need to be yourself.
I will.
But another thing that I'm very proud of that I think will work for you. I have never sold anything in my life. Not baseball cards, not wine, not VaynerMedia, that I didn't 100,000% believe in. And I believe the majority of this room sells something they don't believe in. They just want the money.
Yeah.
How do you constantly love the process? Because the process isn't always fun. So what are some ways?
It's fun for me.
Okay, so what are some advice
Find
that you
one
could give
that
to
is
make
fun
it fun
for you.
Okay, easy peasy, eh?
It's that easy, you know. There are people in the world who genuinely love what they do, whether that's being a stay-at-home dad, whether that's being a painter, a chef. Right now, the danger of entrepreneurship is it's so predicated on fucking money that people are doing shit that they don't like. You have to understand, my days off, I go garage sailing and buying shit for $1 and selling it for $2. Right? Like, I'm on flights from America to Australia for this trip, and I'm staying up for 9 hours looking on eBay trying to buy Messi and Ronaldo rookie cards. Business, buying and selling, is my hobby. I don't want to fucking golf.
Yeah.
So it's about finding a process you actually enjoy that may not map to the thing that makes you the most money. I promise you, at 99 years old, living 90 plus years of happiness versus wealth creation always works out.
Right.
I want to document, not create.
Not create.
Yeah, that's the one. The thing is, I've got so many things I want to talk about, man. How wide or narrow do I go with my focus to keep it
As wide as
interesting?
humanly possible.
Yeah, and why would that be?
Because it's better.
So, okay, all right.
Because the reality is you have no idea what anybody wants to hear from you yet.
Yeah.
So what are you going to arbitrarily pick? There's literally no downside.
Yeah.
That's why.
And would you give it amount of time before you know if something's working or not?
Yes.
How long?
Years.
So a handful of things at once. Okay. Maybe wider.
The
even.
number one advantage you have is the potpourri of your different interests.
It's interesting. I like it.
You know, the fact that I garage sale, sports cards, wine, business, that's what makes me different. And some people don't want that content, and I'm sure when somebody goes through my Instagram and sees this is a post around garage sailing, and they're there for social media tactics, they just skip through it. I'm not charging them. It only cost him 100th of a fucking second.